I've been playing guitar for about 30 years now, and I've been stuck at the intermediate level for probably 20 of those years. Pretty much I've been playing the exact same 5 licks since, well, flip phones were cool. But recently, VR tech has gotten good enough that I think it can finally help me get over that intermediate hump. The test if VR is ready to replace a guitar teacher, I'm going to test out 2 different games. The first one is Immerok. It projects the notes to play out like this. The other game I'm going to try is Guitar XR. It does things a little different. It actually projects the fretboard right up along this fretboard. By using your left controller stuck to the front of your guitar, it uses the controller to reference those if you move. Let's get started with Guitar XR and see how it works. I strapped on my headset and opened up Guitar XR. It initially presented me with a video to watch.
Hello and welcome to the Guitar XR tutorial.
The setup video told us that we had to find some way to attach the controller to the guitar. Since I didn't want to duct tape the controller to one of my guitars and ruin the beautiful finish, I decided that I needed to 3D print the mount. Time to go into the nerd cave and turn on the 3D printer. I went to the Guitar XR website and downloaded the provided STL file, then started printing it. It also needs some suction cups, so I had to order those off of Amazon. All done. Unfortunately, I still didn't have the suction cups I needed to stick this to my guitar, so I had to put a rag back here to keep it from scratching my guitar. It did not work well. I was finally ready to open up Guitar XR and start playing. I went through all the setup and I calibrated the fretboard so that I could see where the notes were landing. My makeshift mount wasn't very sturdy, and you can see how that causes problems here. I started out by looking at some of the built-in lessons.
Alright, so today we're getting into some open chords, and you got your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A. Strum up. All right, let's try some down up strumming on our C chord.
While these lessons were pretty easy for me, I could see how they would be extremely useful for someone just starting out. So I tested out several of the included songs. They were all public domain, which makes sense because a small game developer like this wouldn't want to pay for licensing for music. However, there is a way to upload your own songs, which is an interesting way to get around the copyright issues. Overall, I really like the game, but there's a few things that make it really tough. One is that I've been playing guitar for so long, I'm just so used to reading tabs that I can do that very quickly. And it takes a long time for my brain to process this, even though the notes are showing up on the fretboard pretty close to right where you want to press. The other problem is the wobbly controller. Anytime that the controller moves, it makes it so that the frets don't line up exactly, and that makes things extremely tough. Hopefully the new suction cups will fix that problem. I opened up Immerok and I was happy to find that you don't have to mount your controller to the guitar to get it to work. Also, I was really impressed with how polished this game felt compared to Guitar XR. I went through a ton of the included training. I was really impressed with how they made the roadmap of the training platform. Again, this wasn't as helpful for me because it was more geared towards beginners, but I really like how they gamified the learning, and I could see how that would be extremely useful for a new player. I tried some of the included songs, and again, these were all public domain songs with a few that the developer made specifically for the game. But I really enjoyed the selection. It seemed to be a little more interesting with some cool songs that you could select, including several that I had no chance of being able to play. Nope. I looked at the instructions to put custom songs into Immerok, and it wasn't very hard. Just have to connect your headset to your computer and copy over the files. Luckily, there's a Discord server with a lot of custom-built songs that you can share from other users. I downloaded a song that I knew decently well, so that if it was wrong, I could tell instantly. Luckily, Sweet Child of Mine was pretty accurate, so I don't get a copyright claim. I'm gonna play some different music. Sorry it won't match up. This worked great. I also know you can do this in Guitar XR, and the process looked very similar, so either game should have access to plenty of songs to help you practice. The suction cups came, so I quickly got them installed on the mount. This made the mount stick way better to the guitar. However, I still struggled with the rubber bands to hold the controller onto the mount. In the end, I finally got so frustrated I just threw them out and decided it was time to build my own. I opened up Fusion 360 and designed that I thought would work much better. Mostly, I elongated it and set it up to be able to use Velcro instead of those pesky rubber bands. Much better. Super sturdy. The new mount made a huge difference on stability. The fretboard wasn't bouncing around like crazy anymore, but things still seemed to lose alignment. The lineup just doesn't stay. Alright, I can't do it. While using the controller to map out the fretboard is a really cool idea, I just don't think it's ready for prime time yet. While recording this video, Immerok released a note detection beta. To test it out, you just need an adapter cable, and luckily the old school Rocksmith cable works as long as you can get a USB-C adapter for it. I was extremely impressed with the note tracking beta. Everything worked flawlessly. That almost never happens in betas. I'm thoroughly impressed with the Immerok team. I tested it with custom songs to make sure it works as well, and everything was great. While testing these games, I just could not get past the fact that I could learn these songs faster if I just looked at the tabs. But then it dawned on me, I really needed somebody that didn't have a bias from the way that they had learned to test this out. So I recruited my oldest daughter because she's wanting to learn to play guitar right now. Okay, you're starting to learn to play guitar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, show me your best song.
Okay, my only song you need? Hang on, let me get my pick.
After getting her accustomed to the VR game, she started picking things up really quick.
Okay, yeah. I know which one that one is. The highway shows the song speed tempo in your focus area as notes will appear there. Oh, that's cool!
Okay, so you think that's a fun way to learn guitar?
Yeah,
You think that makes it way easier?
absolutely.
Ooh.
As long as you put the fretboard in the right place, which I hadn't been doing for like 10 minutes.
Okay, so here are my final thoughts. Guitar XR just isn't ready yet. That's not to say it won't be there eventually, and I really like the idea of the controller being attached to the guitar so that it can move with you and come directly up to the fretboard. It's just not there yet, but it might be in the future. And if you do want to try for yourself, I'll put a link to the Thingiverse file for the better mount that I made. But I thought Immerok was really well made. And even more importantly, Morgan loved it, which makes her want to practice guitar more. And in the end, that's what's really important. All of these are just tools, so use the one that makes you want to play more, because the more fun it is to play, the more likely you are to keep with it. This little experiment does make me excited about the future. Imagine if you can have a guitar teacher in VR that's almost as good as having one in real life, one that can direct you of where to put your arms using augmented reality. One that can remind you every time you put your thumb in the wrong place of the fretboard. One that uses AR to make sure that your movements are as efficient as possible, making you as fast as you possibly can be. These are all things that would be relatively easy for developers to put in the future, and inevitably, they'll be important. Because whoever wins the battle of training on guitar is the one that's going to be the long-term winner of this. VR can really just help keep you motivated. Just like it did whenever I tested out exercising in VR, which you can watch in this video.